Hey, good morning, everybody. Took a few minutes to get live for some reason. Um, it was just spinning. I think it is our internet connection here, but I wanted to get into the phase where you're forming your group. We have the group stages of forming, storming, norming. There's actually a good video on that. It's from Remember the Titans, and I want to get into that. But hopefully, for those of you who have observed your group already, you'll see these. Those of you that are about to observe your group, and remember, you can do it online, um, you will see this. So this is something we created at University of Cincinnati when I taught groups in my doctoral program. So I'm going to go ahead and start up with those. Okay, and then show you the clip from Remember the Titans. But this is the formative stages while you're forming a group. And for those of you observing an in-person group, especially a mental health group, you'll see that online, more so in person. And then for those of you that are observing a group with, say, Al-Anon family groups or even Alcoholics Anonymous, you don't see it as much, but you get the idea of the mental health group. And that's why in this COVID era, it seemed a little bit easier to do some of those observing online. So let's go ahead and get into this and the forming stage of a group. So here we go.
As we look over the objectives for the week, I want to remind you to review the chapters for the week prior to viewing the lecture, as it is intended to supplement your reading. By the end of the week, you should be able to identify the factors necessary for forming a group and describe the tasks of a beginning group. As your book points out, there are many ways to categorize and describe the stages that functional groups go through. And despite the differences in labels, most agree that groups go through between 4 and 5 stages in the life of a group. Back in the 1970s, 2 researchers named Tuckman and Jensen identified 5 stages of group development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjoining. This still stands as a very common way for discussing group development. You may refer to the table in your book on page 84 if you want to see a comparison of a few different ways that authors have conceptualized the stages and transitions of group development. Forming a group is a process that takes several steps, and although some of the steps may be completed at the same time, none may be skipped if the group is going to form properly and thrive. First, every group relies on a clear and thoughtful rationale for existence. Groups that attempt to form without a strong rationale are likely to be unproductive and potentially harmful for their members. Leaders must also decide on the theoretical framework from which to work, and the theoretical format should be appropriate for the purposes of the group. The successful formation of a group also relies on practical planning, like the meeting time and place, and leaders should consider potential obstacles in planning this group. Considering how members get to the meeting, if the group's intended for a certain population, say school-aged children or elderly people, transportation may be a specific issue to address. Publicized group is another consideration that is addressed during the forming stage, and it's important to keep in mind that how a group is announced influences both the ways that it will be received by potential members and also the kind of people who will join. Take some time to consider whether word of mouth, personal contact, and/or written announcements will best suit your intended audience, and that will contribute to the intentionality of your group formation. Screening and pre-training are processes that involve meeting potential members either individually or in a group format to determine who should join a group and who should not, by identifying needs, expectations, and commitment, challenging myths and conceptions, and conveying information to those potential members. This is an opportunity not only for group leaders to select members, but also for potential members to make sure that the group is something they're truly interested in. Once members have been selected, pre-training serve as almost an orientation session to help members get acclimated. The selecting of group members and group leaders can be seen as an outcome of the screening and pre-training, with leaders selecting group members and group members selecting to be part of the group with those leaders. Once we have a group, there are a number of tasks that must be accomplished during the first session, including dealing with apprehension, reviewing goals and contracts, specifying rules, setting limits, promoting positive interchange among members, and resolving potential group problems. A certain level of anxiety is considered a natural part of beginning groups, and group leaders can address anxiety directly in the group or work to clarify any issues that seem to arise as a result of member anxiety. Reviewing goals and contracts within the group is an opportunity to restate the purpose of the group during the first session and allow members to share more about their own personal goals. Although some groups may begin with an established set of group rules, the first session is a great time to review these rules and also allow members to make contributions to the rules. Stating rules in positive terms rather than negative terms will help set the tone of the group. For instance, rather than having a rule against violence, the group could state that members will respect the physical and psychological safety of others at all times. Limits help members understand boundaries in the group, and limits can be addressed during the initial session, but must also be addressed when members test them in the group setting, either by breaking rules or norms. Group leaders can promote positive interactions among group members by being enthusiastic, by drawing out members, holding focus on interesting topics, or shifting the focus when topics are irrelevant or interesting to only a few members, by cutting off any hostile or negative interactions as well. There are a number of problems that can occur during the formation of a group and afterward, some of which involve people and some of which involve process. Subgroups are one such example of a problem that can come up in group process where cliques of members band together and may become troublesome. Leaders must remain tuned in to interaction patterns and promote interchange among members, potentially by providing more direction for interaction through exercises or through activities. Your textbook authors also address this with group member behavior, and the caution that I want to echo as you consider difficult member roles during the first session is that the tendency to label members based on their behavior can be incredibly distracting and disrupt the success of a group. Rather than labeling members based on potentially difficult behavior, it can be helpful instead to see that behavior as a symptom of an issue that's developed in the group and approach it with an open mind. For instance, silent members may be feeling hostile or attempting to withdraw from the group, but they may also be shy, reflective, or simply slow to assert themselves. Instead of seeing a silent member as difficult, it can be helpful to ask a simple open-ended question like, what do you think about what the other members have been saying? Pages 102 to 104 provide strategies for the beginning stage of a group, and I would encourage you to review these pages carefully as they're quite helpful. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, I'll ask you to view clips to illustrate the issues we're discussing. To access the videos, you may need to sign in using your UC ID and password. You should then be connected directly to the videos. If you have any trouble accessing the video once you've successfully logged in, try using the link again or searching for the video title. This one is titled Leading in the Here and Now, the Initial Stage. In our first viewing, we'll see a new group coming together and forming. In the coming weeks, I'll ask you to view 2 more videos as we watch the same group grow and develop. This first video is about an hour, so I encourage you to either carve out time to view this in one sitting or split the video into smaller segments and watch it over the course of a couple viewings. As you watch this week, try to look for the tasks that exist in the beginning group, as members and leaders deal with apprehension, review goals and rules, begin to set limits, promote positive interchange among members, and resolve potential group problems. Looking at the link, you may notice that this video is not captured recently, However, the group leader you're about to watch is a highly respected member of the group work profession and has developed some excellent teaching tools, including these videos. Enjoy. In summary, forming is characterized by initial caution associated with any new experience, attempting to avoid being rejected by others. During this first stage of group development, group members try to be superficial, center conversation around historical or future events that do not have a direct impact on the group. Tasks during this beginning stage include dealing with apprehension, reviewing member goals and contracts, specifying rules, setting limits, and promoting positive interchange. This serves to conclude our lecture on forming, and I will see you next week.
All right, so that video is on alexanderstreet.com. So there is a few previews with that. The one that I have for you guys is more specifically on Remember the Titan. So I'll see if I can get that one going. Here it is.
All right.
That's norming and now performing.
I swear to God, I ought to. I didn't hear. I was coming through. Swear to God. Stick with that, son. You broke the bone to the wrist. You broke the toe to the wrist. Got 1 minute. Take a little time in the kids. Not any bad. Coach, best one I can do. Not a quarterback. Give me that pitch, don't you? Yes, you do. When I was 15 years old, I lost my mother and my father in the same time. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans. Fake 23 blast with a backside George reverse. You got that? Fake 23 blast with a backside George reverse like you like depending upon it. Let's go. The Titans take the field time for the one final play of the state championship. Guess not. Why they bring in a QB? Smoky. Cover game.
Gary is gone, but his spirit lives on. People say that it can't work, black and white. Well, here we make it work every day. We have our disagreements, of course. But before we reach for hate, always, always, we remember the Titans.
Hey, 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 goodbye.
All right, so that's kind of the breakdown. In the next few weeks, we will have a few teaching demonstrations. So those will come up. I was telling you guys to go to alexanderstreet.com. If I had gotten that one right, maybe it is Alexander. Yeah, it is alexanderstreet.com. And then the initial stage of the group. So kind of the breakdown of that is that at the beginning, the leader periodically interacts with a group of observers to discuss the key components of group development. The Association for Specialists and group work. It's a division of American Association for Counseling. They kind of break down how you will lead the group. So when observing your first group, that one's going to be the most helpful. That's going to show you some of the things that come up, and how doing group work can be challenged with kids and adults. So make sure to get that first assignment in of observing the group. And if you guys did have any questions about it, let me know. Here's one last group therapy piece that I found helpful just to understand the work we're doing.
Hey guys, welcome to this small metrics video over group work and its benefits. First, let's talk about what group work or group therapy is, then we can get into its benefits. Group therapy includes one or more psychologists who help lead a group of about 5 to 15 patients. The information discussed in group is always confidential. Normally, groups meet for an hour or two each week. Oftentimes, a patient will attend individual therapy as well as group therapy. However, some may participate in group therapy alone. Many groups operate to help target a specific problem. That may be depression, social anxiety, chronic pain, substance abuse, obesity, panic disorders, etc. Other groups may concentrate more generally on improving social skills, helping people manage anger, shyness, loneliness, low self-esteem, and so on. Also, groups are often put into place to help people who have been affected by a loss. A group may be open or closed. Open groups are groups where members can join at any time. Closed groups are groups where all members begin at the same time and generally have a specific timeline for when they will all end together. Oftentimes, group work can be very intimidating, but group therapy can be such a great platform to encourage growth in ways that individual therapy cannot. Groups can provide patients with a community of people that help to support, encourage, and act as a sounding board for one another. Other members of the group may have helpful advice and wisdom to offer in a difficult situation or life challenge. A patient may say something that strikes a chord with another patient. It may be something that the patient hadn't realized before. Accountability is another helpful and necessary component of group therapy. Having people ask one another on a regular basis if they are doing the thing that they were committed to doing can help to keep the patient on track. Regularly opening up about internal issues and listening to others can help the patient to put their own problems in perspective. It's easy to fall into the lie that you are the only one who feels the way that you do. Group therapy can help patients to see that they are not alone in their struggle and that having struggles is a reality of this life. Diversity is also a major benefit of group therapy. Not everyone thinks, feels, acts, or has the same convictions as you do. A diverse group of people with different personalities, backgrounds, and even living situations can provide conversation and a different perspective than our own. Diversity can also be an effective tool to help us grow in patience. Group therapy is also effective in revealing to the patient more about themselves than they knew before, like how they interact with people and how others are affected by those interactions. Overall, group therapy can be very effective in helping patients to recognize and identify problems, gain community that pushes and encourages them towards change, learn more about themselves, and gain another perspective. I hope this video is helpful for you. For further help, be sure to check out our other videos by subscribing right here.
All right, so again, a quick intro to groups and what we do in group therapy. It certainly has worked for a lot of folks. Sometimes students like seeing a live demonstration. That's partly why in our second major assignment is leading a group. There's several online that you could find with introduction to group counseling and things of that nature. So check out some of those. I'll play some of those for you. before and after we have some of these teaching demonstrations, here's what kind of generically stuff would look like several years ago.
But do you have shoulds for your in-laws?
Oh my gosh, yes, that's the first thing that popped in my head when you said the shoulds, and I thought, oh my God. I'm shooting everybody constantly.
Okay.
I'll be shitting all over them.
Yeah. But who do you have shoulds for in your life? You said in-laws?
No, I have shoulds for my husband because his job is so demanding. He's gone a lot, and I'm like, shouldn't he be here with me? He shouldn't be working so much. Yeah, it's just everything. Yeah,
Okay,
I realize I have a lot of shoulds.
okay.
My children, my ex-husband,
They should what? What should your ex-husband do?
should be treating me better, or should be treating his son better.
Right.
Before he gets off to prison, should be treating his daughter better. I mean, he just
So
should.
you have a lot of shoulds.
I do.
Okay. Evie, do you have shoulds?
Oh, yeah, I have shoulds for my soon-to-be ex-husband, for my kids.
And then if you keep having shoulds, you stay mad. Shoulds is the essence of anger.